I'm never far. Just look under your bed.
Okay, so I recently went to the New Jersey Horror Con for the first time ever, and I gotta say it was a lot of fun. So I just took a little bit of video, and I'm gonna walk you through my time there. The first two tables were pretty interesting. This first one that I stopped at had a lot of retro stuff. It was pretty cool. There was this graded magazine, I believe it is, all vintage style stuff, and I found that pretty interesting. The table next to it was a horror host. He wasn't there at the time of me recording this. I believe he was in the bathroom or something. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. I think he also has like a podcast or something like that. But definitely, I would say check him out because he seemed like a very interesting, charismatic gentleman with a lot of, information about horror and stuff like that. So if you're a fan and that sounds like something interesting to you, definitely check it out. And real quickly, I just want to show off Champ's Word Podcast and Corpse Control. Corpse Control also wanted to highlight this cup made by their friends over at Just a Dream Creations. Corpse Control really made me feel like a kid again, not because I felt youthful, but because they lured me in with free candy. So walking into the convention, I thought it was pretty interesting. Of course, as soon as you walk in, the first thing you see is Father Evil, because, it's a horror convention after all, right? And I just want to say, side note, if you're a vendor watching this and I didn't highlight you in the video, I apologize. There's no shade to you. There were just so many people there. It was hard for me to get everybody, but everybody was doing their thing, and I love to see everyone come together, all these artists, these small businesses. It's really cool to see. So again, my apologies if I didn't cover your business in this video. So Shop Unmasked was the first store that I stopped off at. This guy I saw at Monster Mania Con 55, which was my first horror convention, and I gotta be honest, it's really an eye-catching setup. I love his coasters, really cool designs. I was tempted to get that They Live one. He's also got these VHS box arts, really cool. He's got, the pop sockets for your phone. And just across the way, we had this nice little apparel company, this really cool Terrifier shirt. You gotta love those complementary colors with the blue and the orange, very Halloween-y. And then this really sweet vest that's just got vintage written all over it. Squirrely Stitcher, definitely check them out. And then across from them, we have Groovy Graveyard. Groovy Graveyard was pretty cool. They had a bunch of DVDs. They had these cool cans of soda that were pretty interesting and unique, kind of vintage looking. So the next store I stopped off at was Trashin'. This place was really cool. I was really tempted to buy something from them, and I wish I did, honestly, because they had some really cool stuff. It was all very vintage aesthetic. They specialized in flannels with custom backings. This Camp Crystal Lake one was pretty sweet. I also really liked the Nightmare on Elm Street one. And of course, Child's Play and Halloween. You gotta love these two. The next vendor I visited was this guy who specialized in blades, action figures, and holographic posters. This guy had so many action figures, lots of cool stuff. He had some Terrifier ones. He had a Friday the 13th Pamela one. He had Terminator ones. It was pretty cool. If you could think of a franchise, he probably had a figure for it. But I think my favorite thing that he was selling were these holographic prints. There were a lot of cool designs, but I think my favorite by far was this one at the end that flashes through all the different killers. Side note, I'm pretty sure that this Scream design is a Stephen Luros design. I'll put it on screen now if it is, but if it is, I hope that this is legit and not just someone ripping off his artwork, because that would be really shitty. And of course, like I said, he had a whole bunch of blades. There were pocket knives on one side and then these massive blades on the other. And next up, we have the Collector's Den. Now, this guy was really nice, super chill dude, really nice gentleman. He had a bunch of action figures, all kinds of action figures, but of course the most noticeable were all of these masks that he had that just looked absolutely beautiful. So much variety, so unique, and definitely a huge eye-catching vendor table at the expo. The next vendor table I stopped at was this section full of posters. It was really nice to see. I'm a huge fan of posters. I love seeing all different kinds of art for like one film, how there's, you know, a bunch of different artists will kind of do their take on the material, and I think it's always cool to see what unique perspectives they bring to the same old property that I know and love. So yeah, gotta shout out the poster section a little bit. So next up, there was American Grimm. This is a band. The music was playing, and they had a TV, and they were selling shirts and stuff. The guy was super chill, really nice guy. So definitely check them out because that was pretty cool. It was like a little concert at their vendor table. The next vendor table I stopped at briefly was Derek Draws. There were a lot of great pieces here. This guy really seems like a talented artist, so I just wanted to shout that out. And then next up, I stopped at 30 Seconds to Live. Now, this guy actually had a board game, which was very unique. Not a lot of people. This might have been the only board game actually there. I don't remember seeing another one, so it was very unique. It's a zombie board game, which was pretty cool. He had all these pieces, all these cards. It was just super legit, and the guy was really nice. Just big sweetheart energy. So yeah, really cool station. Next up, I stopped at Fat Satan. Now this was a really cool vendor table. I mean, all of these blacklight paintings were really awesome. There was so much color, all of these rings, this neon color, these paintings covered in blacklights, the skulls that were all different colors and different varieties. It was really a unique booth. I can't say that there was another one quite like this one. Next up, I stopped at Love JoJo's Cookies. This spot was really awesome. There were so many cookies and so much variety. It was really cool to see so many different flavors. I knew that by the end of the convention, I was gonna have to buy at least a couple of these, and sure enough, I did. There were so many different flavors, and I love the stickers on them and the packaging with the different characters for some of the flavors, like Freddy's were Sweet Dreams. Next, I stopped at Crystal's Creative Adorkable Designs. So this table consisted of a lot of, I believe it was knitting, right? They were knit kind of figures. Some of them were horror themed, some were not. One of the ones that really caught my eye was this little Sam one. And then there were other ones that were less horror themed, like these bees and this baby Yoda. Pretty cute stuff. Next up, I stopped at the Fiendish Fox Co. This table was pretty interesting. They had a bunch of different stuff. One of the first things that I noticed were all the different cups that they had. They had a Never Hike Alone one, which I thought was interesting. And then on the other side, she had some magnets, very reasonably priced too. I just noticed now that they're $2 each, which is just, I mean, that's really good pricing. She also had these stickers and these pins. There were also these little folded containers, and she had some coasters primarily consisting of vintage photographs. The next vendor I stopped at was the Big Kid store. This lady was really nice, and I got to talking to her for a little bit. She actually used to do photography, so we talked about that for a while because I'm actually a full-time photographer currently. And yeah, I like the stuff that she had. She had a bunch of VHS tapes, some cool stuff, some like older stuff that I was tempted to get. She had a Halloween VHS tape, a Beetlejuice VHS tape, Jaws. She had the Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It felt like a vintage toy store. That was the vibe that I got when I came here. Next up, I stopped at Goopy Bones. This kid was really nice. I believe him and his mom were there working together. He was selling his artwork, which heavily reminded me of 90s cartoons, Scooby-Doo especially. He was doing live commissions there, and I really enjoyed his artwork. It was clean, he was good at what he did, and it definitely had a style to it. He had a very clear and distinct style. So yeah, check him out, Goopy Bones. He was also putting his artwork on some of these pins, and yeah, I just really love seeing different artists out here. So he was literally out here drawing commissions on the spot. So you gotta respect him for that. And I stopped just to peek at the corner of this one guy's booth. He had a bunch of autographed memorabilia and Funko Pops. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He also had some autographed pictures. This one is, I believe, of Shelley Duvall's autograph. And next up, I stopped at Horror Finds, which was pretty cool. It was a unique apparel company. The vibe is basically like if slashers went to college. That's what it feels like. I love the varsity jackets especially. I love this Crystal Lake swim team one. It was probably my favorite. And next up, I stopped at David M. Bancroft. He had some stand-ups is what he called them, I believe. They were like these kind of cutouts that you see here. He had a lot of variety in the designs too. He also sold some stickers, which was pretty cool. Next up, I stopped at Cece's Cookies and Cupcakes. This was a sweet little operation. I believe it was a mother and daughter team. They had some really cool cookie designs. I really loved all of them, all different designs, all kinds. I really like the Red Rum Door one. That might have been one of my favorites. The cupcakes looked absolutely amazing too, and I love that they had them stored in this little coffin shelf unit. Really cool stuff. Next up, I stopped at Magic Circle Collectibles. This was a really cool vendor as well. These people were really sweet, and I got to talking to them for a little bit, and they were really passionate about anime as well, and I thought that was cool. I did see some other anime stuff at this convention, but this was the only table that I saw with anime statues. They were selling some keychains for a really nice price. I loved all these little designs. They even had a little Slender Man one, which I thought was cool. But yeah, this was one of the vendors that actually had some anime stuff as well. So it was cool to see a little bit of variety there. This was another kind of unique booth in the space. Next up, I stopped at this small table that was run by this nice gentleman named Nick. He made a film recently that was shot on video called Labor Day. And yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, especially because not only did he have some Blu-rays, some DVDs, but he also had some VHSs, which was pretty interesting to see. I don't think you see a lot of people making VHSs nowadays, but he is, and I thought that was cool. He's also making it with retro release video, so check them out as well. The next spot I stopped at was Patches from the Crypt. This was one of the vendors that really got me contemplating on buying some things. I'm thinking about maybe starting a denim jacket with some patches and some pins because I don't have one yet. And truthfully, this place had a lot of cool patches. I love the Resident Evil ones, the Silent Hill ones. There was a Return of the Living Dead one. Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was all really cool stuff. And on top of all the really cool patches, they were also selling different beanies and hats with custom embroidery. I love the Thing hat as well as these Fright Night beanies. Next up, I stopped at Headstone City. They had some Dinosaurs Attacks packs, which was really interesting to see. That was pretty vintage, as well as a lot of different pins and stickers. Really cool to see all these different pins. I was tempted to buy some because the prices just seemed pretty good for the awesome designs you got, and also they had a buy 2 pins get 1 free sale. And then there was this guy. This guy was great. I love this guy. He's got great energy, really nice dude, really funny. Just an all-around swell guy, and honestly, I wish I bought something from his station just because he deserved it. You know, he deserved it. Bringing that type of smile, bringing that type of energy, giving out free samples. I mean, this guy deserved it. He had a pickle costume and everything. Next, I stopped at Jack Designs, JAC Designs. Really cool spot. This girl made a bunch of cartoon versions of characters we all know and love, and she put them on keychains, she put them on pop sockets. She had so many pop sockets and stickers as well. She also made pins, which was pretty cool, as well as some custom hats with these characters on them. I thought it was really awesome, and I was pretty tempted to get a hat. But by far my favorite thing that she was doing was she made cartoon versions and art of her dog, who recently passed away, and unfortunately she's still dealing with the bills from trying to keep her alive, but this artwork goes to her supporting that. It contributes directly to her paying for those bills of her passed dog. So I just thought that that was really sweet. You know, RIP to her dog. It's always really tough to go through that. And next up, speaking of cartoonified versions of things we already know and love, this guy did custom art pieces of pop culture characters, and I absolutely love them. His style was awesome. His name is Denzel Draws, and he does great work. I really love these cartoonified versions of these characters, and he had all different types, from anime to cartoons and video games, horror movies. He had all kinds of characters. Yeah, I really love Denzel's style. All these guys had great styles. Jack Designs, Denzel Draws, Goopy Bones, they all had really cool, unique styles, and I just love seeing all their art. So you might be asking yourself, Mike, what did you buy? And I'll tell you, I bought a bunch of cookies because I'm a bad little boy. Don't tell my doctor. He said my cholesterol is all jacked up.
My own recipe, guaranteed to jack you up.
Oh yeah, and I also bought Labor Day, which was signed by the one, the only, Nick. So that was the New Jersey HorrorCon. That was the first New Jersey HorrorCon at the Edison Expo Center. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was so nice to me. It's so cool to see so many artists and small businesses under one roof. It's really inspiring to me. All the cosplayers did an amazing job, and yeah, I just had a really fun time. So hopefully I'll go to some more cons soon. But either way, that was a great experience, and that's it for this video. If you made it this far, maybe consider liking and subscribing because I do appreciate it. And I'm going to finish this cookie because it's really good. And yeah, thank you for watching. Man. The cinnamon was a good touch. Love that.